Alright, so, plenty of you have probably already heard of the thing the Verge did with this terrible PC build video. And I've seen plenty of videos on it, but I thought I'd just give my own take, because different videos have different criticisms, and I just thought, hey, I mostly just saw snippets of it, so I'm just gonna go through anything that I actually have something to say about. So, I already know this is gonna be bad. First of all, ratings and comments are disabled. This is terrible. They do so much wrong in this video that doing what they did could actually kill a system. So, by disabling ratings and comments, they are, and keeping the video up, they are not only spreading misinformation, but also preventing people from warning about that misinformation. So that is just absolutely terrible. They should have just deleted the video, but instead they even choose to try and damage control, which is incredibly selfish. But yeah, let's actually see how bad it exactly is.
So a few years ago, TC, or Managing Editor, built a gaming desktop, but it's kind of out of date, and it's definitely not going to hold up for Battlefield 5. So let's build a new one. You can build a gaming desktop for around $1,000, but
or you can build one for $200, or $300, $400, $500, $600, really? It seems like a bit of a generalization. People always talk about, oh, gaming desktop is $1,000. Now you can really build one, a reasonable one, for $200, and generally you'll get something good, even way below $1,000. So, bit iffy start, but nothing too bad yet.
I want to go all out, so I spent around $2,000.
2,000 is not all out. If you're going all out, you're gonna spend 2,000 on the CPU alone. Well, maybe not currently, because currently top-of-the-line CPUs are pretty good, but you're gonna be spending half of that on the CPU, almost. So yeah, 2,000 is not all out.
PC like this is going to be able to play most games at ultra settings. So, what do you need to build a desktop? Well, of course, first you need a table. Preferably not metal. If it's going to be metal, have an anti-static working surface layered on top of it, a thermal paste applicator.
You don't need a thermal paste applicator.
An Allen wrench.
You don't need that.
Some tweezers to tighten up the wires.
Those are zip ties. I'm German. I shouldn't be correcting this guy on what things are called. What the fuck?
A Swiss Army knife, which hopefully has a Phillips head screwdriver in it.
How about just a fucking screwdriver? You're like, oh, a Swiss Army knife, which it hopefully has a screwdriver. It might not be. Well, newsflash, a screwdriver is the only tool you really consistently always need to build a PC. So, if it doesn't have that, then pretty much everything you would have put there would be completely useless, because you wouldn't have the most important thing. And like I said, out of those things he only needs like half, and that would be counting the Swiss Army knife as a screwdriver, which I really don't get why he didn't just get one. A regular screwdriver is way more convenient. I even still have one that came with my CPU cooler, and that one's even nice and long, so you don't even need to get that close to screw things in. Okay, let's just continue.
And last but not least, an anti-static bracelet, which is to protect you and the parts. These are the parts you're
That's just a regular bracelet. An anti-static bracelet has something where you connect it to something else to reroute the electricity away from. No, that's what I'm trying to say. No, this is not how you protect your parts from static electricity. Granted, you don't really need an anti-static bracelet if you're careful, but what he's doing is 100% pointless. It does nothing.
You're gonna need. But more importantly, before we get there, we need to understand what these parts are doing and how they interact with one another. To better understand.
Yeah, I from what you've said so far, I have my doubts that you understand what they're doing.
The parts that make up a desktop, let's try to understand them individually. The process.
Oh boy. I went to college for this. I've been building PCs for, let me think, 16 years? No, wait, it wasn't 16 years. No, 14 years. Let's not get out of it. Yeah, 14 years ago was when I built my first PC at the age of 7. So, and like I said, I went to college for this, so if I fucked this up, I should notice it. If I miss anything, let me know in the comments.
The processor is like the computer's brain, a base of calculations that control everything the computer does.
Not everything. Just a lot, but no, not everything. There's way more to controlling what the computer does.
Motherboard is like the foundation, serving as a main structure for all other parts to be added to. It also allows the other parts to communicate with one another, which also makes it kind of like a nervous system. Graphics cards are responsible for rendering and processing visuals into what you see on screen.
Not just that, NVIDIA cards also, on certain applications, allow processing physics. So yeah, not just visuals. Video cards are also really good for AI stuff. So yeah, they can't do all kinds of workloads, but the workloads they can do, they are really good at, and it's way more than just visuals.
Our PC's power supply is of course channeling electricity, in that it adjusts and provides the right amount of energy to keep it running. Last but not least, RAM, or random access memory, and your hard drive are good examples of short-term and long-term memory, respectively.
The hard drive is not it's not memory, it's storage. Please stop. I know he said long-term, but still. Refer to it as storage, not memory. That's just, it triggers me.
If you want to better understand what kind of computer to build, then first figure out what you want to use it for. A gamer might care more about a graphics card than, say, a video editor who might want extra RAM to assist with editing large files.
A video editor is probably gonna want a good graphics card too, because, you know, it's kind of one of the purposes of graphics cards.
If you're building a budget build for video streaming, say under $1,000, you want to focus on parts.
If you're gonna make a budget build for video streaming, you're gonna spend barely $200. Anything above that, you can already game with. If you just want to make something for streaming, you're not gonna spend just under $1,000. That's just stupid. I mean, I guess I can see how you would spend like $400 or something if you want to go with a really high quality, small form factor case. But still, no, you're not going to spend $700 to $900 on a streaming computer. That's just wrong and stupid to imply.
Like a Core i5 or Core i3 processor.
Can people please stop generalizing i5s and i3s? Let's just, okay, you know what? List of i5 processors. Let's see how many different i5 processors there are to see to see how much diversity in performance there is. Oh, look. Look, that's a lot of processors. Still going. We're not even current gen yet. Then now we've just reached current gen, and there's some... Now we're at the mobile parts. See, that's a lot of i5 processors. And there's probably just as many i3s, maybe slightly fewer. But you get the point. There are... You want to go based on performance, really, so... You could honestly also just go with a really old i7 if you want to go used, so... Sorry, I just really hate how people keep generalizing i5s, i3s, and i7s. I just hate it.
That require less energy. They'll be less powerful, but then you'll be able to scale back the cost of several other
Also, AMD exists.
parts. And if you need help choosing the right parts for your build, there are sites like PCPartPicker.com that help show presets for which parts fit together, which sort of part conflicts you might have, and where to find deals on new parts. We have a lot of boxes and a lot of PC parts. So
PC Part Picker is actually good. I guess they did some... I guess they at least got one thing right. They get a point, I guess.
It's best you unbox them, isolate the parts that you really need, place items into the case, and make sure that they all fit, and then start working. And now we're really gonna...
What the fuck was he just doing there with a PSU? I'll probably
start
see
building
later.
by adding the motherboard in. Some notes about installing motherboards.
Usually you start by putting the CPU into the motherboard. And, also the cooler. There are actually plenty of coolers who have a plate that you need to mount behind the motherboard, so if you put it in, you can no longer mount the cooler. Mount the CPU and the cooler first, and also the RAM, otherwise you're just making things harder for yourself unnecessarily. I actually made that mistake once with my second PC? Yeah, with my second PC. Back in like 2010 or so, I believe. I had this huge cooler, and it required a plate on the back, and I didn't know about that, so I put the motherboard in and was like, oh, I'm gonna install the cooler now. Nope, had to take the motherboard back out. So, don't mount the motherboard before you've mounted the CPU, the cooler, and the RAM. I mean, RAMs doesn't really matter that much, but honestly, just put it in. It's easier to do when it's outside the case.
Really delicate, you should be really careful with them, and screw in with confidence, but also don't screw in too hard, otherwise you could crack the board. I chose Asus's Z370 motherboard for two main reasons. One, it has built-in Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, and also it has support for
If you're gonna use a PC for online gaming, please don't use Wi-Fi. Just don't.
NVMe SSDs, meaning you can get really
I doubt he even knows exactly what that is.
fast SSDs that are really easy to install. Pay close attention to the brace that goes at the back.
That's the I/O shield. And why did you put the motherboard into the case before installing it? You should install that first, and then put the motherboard in.
Of the computer, you always have to make sure that you really hammer it in, because there's no screw. It really just has to go outside of the case and clasp onto the frame. And this is very important, because otherwise you can't align the motherboard correctly with the holes. We're just going to start installing all 8 screws. So next we're going to install the RAM on the motherboard. I chose Corsair's 16GB Vengeance LED RAM for two main reasons. One, it has LEDs, and we do like lights in our gaming desktops.
He didn't even say what speed they are. Great.
Secondly, it's pretty fast RAM. It's 2,660 hits.
Okay, never mind.
6 megahertz, I believe. So it's pretty fast.
What? Wait. 2,666? Did he say that?
RAM, it's 2,660 hits. 6.
Yeah. Okay, that doesn't count as fast. Let's go to PC Part Picker and see what's the fastest RAM we can get. What actually is fast RAM? Actually, there we go. Let's see, what is fast RAM? Just gonna go to speed. Sort that by fast. Yeah, 4700. I don't think you can really call 2666 fast when 4700 is the fastest option available to regular consumers.
Megahertz, I believe. So it's pretty fast, and this motherboard supports that speed, which
Oh, you believe, so you don't actually know what you're putting into your computer.
is most important. Open the slots first, and just aligning the stick with the middle of the strip, not with the end, and just lining that up with the logo. So once you hear that solid clasp and you don't see the gold connectors on the side anymore, that's when you know the RAM is in. Step 3, we're going to install the...
Wait. Do you see that? They're next to each other. That means they cannot run in dual channel. Why? Why? You're supposed to, like, leave a space between the two, so that they can actually run in dual channel. What he's doing right now is he's unnecessarily crippling the bandwidth with which the RAM can run with. Sorry, not a native speaker.
hard drive, or in this case, the NVMe SSD. I chose this format of solid-state drive so that I could input it into the motherboard without having to worry about extra wires.
NVMe is not the format. The format is M.2.
Wires, or putting it in a separate part of the case and just getting really messy. This is from Kingston, and it's 480 gigabytes, so it's not a lot, but you can always upgrade this and swap it out, and it's only held down by one screw and the latch, so it's really simple and really...
Yeah, well, upgrading is a bit inconvenient with SSDs, though, because with the fast SSDs, you generally want to put your operating system on them, and if you're going to get a new one, you're likely going to have to reinstall it.
Straightforward. Speed for gaming is important when it comes to a hard drive. You want files to write quickly, and you want games to load quickly, so that's why it's best if you use an SSD.
It's only really important if you care about load times that much. I mean, there are some games where it affects performance, but it's not the most important. I've been not running an SSD for the entire time I've been gaming, and I've been doing just fine. So it's not a necessity, it's more of a convenience thing.
Okay, so step 4, we're going to install the graphics card. I chose PN...
Why are you installing the graphics card before CPU, cooler? That's... Why would you do that? That's stupid. This is terrible.
Wise GTX 1080, which is overclocked, and so it's a pretty...
Which PNY GTX 1080? You do realize that all the manufacturers put out like tens of models? So just saying, oh, oops, sorry. Just hit my pop filter accidentally. This is triggering me. Yeah, it's just like, yeah, which PNY? I don't generally know what PNY names their models, because I don't really buy PNY cards. I mostly look at Gigabyte, MSI, Asus, more the generally popular ones. But, yeah, there's usually a major difference. If you pick one that has a blower style cooler, chances are you can't overclock them very well without them sounding like a jet engine. So you want to go for one that has a good cooler, and some are factory overclocked, some are overvolted to have more overclocking headroom, all that kind of stuff. So it does matter.
Easy installation. You're just going to find the gold connectors, and you're going to line this bracket with the back end bracket of your PC case. Now, which lane you choose depends entirely on what other parts you're going to put in the system. I'm just going to pick the top one because the SSD is at the bottom and I don't want to cover it. I just think it looks nice.
Well, you should usually put it in the top slot because there are bandwidth limits. So it does actually matter.
Click down. Take your remaining brackets and just put them in the spots that you haven't used. You don't have to screw these in.
Well, wouldn't they usually just already be there? Well, whatever.
Then they get bolted down by the back end bracket. And your GPU is installed. Power supply time. I chose Corsair's 850 watt power supply because I need enough headroom for ray tracing GPUs when they come out, and I don't want to have to upgrade it again. So all you have to do is take the brick and...
If you're only gonna get one card, then you should be fine with 650. 850 is just overkill, and I'm saying that having an 850 myself. I only have the 850, so I can go for SLI when I want to, and I just never have to worry about power consumption, even if I go crazy with like SLI, high-end CPU, tons of storage drives and stuff. But yeah, if you never plan on using SLI, you're not gonna really need more than 650.
And make sure that you align it with these little insulating pads so that the power supply doesn't short circuit and come into contact with the rest of the system.
Excuse me? Okay, I don't even know where to start here. So, first of all, it's coming in contact with the case anyway when you're screwing it in. Also, electricity on the power supply is not... It doesn't go through the outside of the power supply. If I could touch my power supply right now while my PC is running, and guess what? I wouldn't die. Well, actually, I can't touch it because there's some stuff in the way, so I can't really reach for it, but theoretically speaking. So yeah, this guy's spewing a bunch of bullshit.
So just take it in, slide it in nice and easy until you have a snug fit, and then shift it to the back and make sure...
What are you doing? Why are you making it face into the case? That's terrible. You should never do that. You should never do that unless you have like a really cheap case that doesn't have a vent below the power supply mount. But this is gonna cause heat issues. Don't do this.
It's right up against the frame. Now you just take the required screws and you tighten and screw in. So next step, we're going to install the CPU core. In this case, it's going to go on the top end of the case, and we're just going to have the hose hang out for a little while until we install the processor, which is going to come a little later. Always be sure to try to place it in the system first.
Oh, I just realized he's mounting the radiator and he hasn't even put the CPU into the motherboard socket. What the fuck? Why? Ugh.
Before you install it, because you can see it takes up a lot of space.
Wait, is he gonna install that without putting fans on it first? Please tell me he's not.
In this case, no pun intended, it fits in perfectly, And we're gonna start screwing it in. And so there's nothing special about
No.
this screwing in process.
He's actually doing it. Oh no.
They're just really long screws because they go through the entire frame of the cooler, and they take forever.
Yeah, they're really long screws because you're supposed to put fans in between the case and the radiator. What the fuck, dude? It's supposed to go through the fan and then into the radiator.
So next up, cables. Every power supply is going to come with a big bag of Velcro cables. It's kind of...
Unless it is non-modular. So, no, he's full of shit again.
daunting at first, so you always have to find the ones that are going to fit. In this case, you need to match those cables with the correct descriptions on the power supply. Next step is we're connecting...
Wow, he got a basic fact right. My mind is almost blown at this point.
...the power supply to the motherboard with the 24-pin cable. We're just matching that cable from the motherboard, threading it through the back, and attaching the 24-pin header to the power supply so that we can have one of the connections complete. The next few additions will be for the GPU, for any specific ports that the case has, for any lighting that the case has, the CPU cooler, anything else really. We're installing the CPU, the heart of the computer or the brain, depending on how you look at it. So to do this, we're just going to remove the plastic covering that they put on the motherboard.
Brain description isn't perfect. It's something generally people do, but whatever. I have enough to complain about, so I shouldn't bitch at little things like this.
We're just going to take this little plastic part out. Just toss that out of here. And now we have an exposed CPU holder, or rather slot, on the motherboard.
Yeah, and it looks like with you on the screen, we also have an exposed idiot.
And we're going to use the CPU applicator. This is a special little part that not everyone may get, but this...
And that no one needs. What the fuck, dude?
Motherboard that we got from ASUS definitely does.
Wait, what was he doing
not
there?
Not everyone may get, but this motherboard that we got from ASUS definitely does have. It's called a CPU.
Isn't he, by pressing that in, isn't he just risking... No, wait. Intel still got pins on the motherboard. Never mind. But seriously, if he was using AMD and using such a thing, you would risk bending pins, so... Still, you don't need that. Putting in a CPU is very simple. If I had a spare motherboard, I would show it to you right now. I do have a spare CPU, but not a spare motherboard, but I would show it to you right now if I had one.
CPU installation tool. It makes it really useful if you want to install a Core i7 hexa-core CPU. Yeah, we've got one, and
he's acting like that's something special. Or also, not even saying which hexa-core it actually is. There's like, let's see. So, let's see how many hexa-core CPUs Intel actually has. How many i7 hexa-core CPUs? So, six. So, yeah, there's a neat little list. So, it could be any of these, really. Could be any of these. Because this guy is just constantly vague. So, yeah, take a guess. A wild guess. Maybe if we look closely.
It's an 8th generation chip. It's ready to go. And it supports overclocking. Okay,
so he said 8th gen. Let's see how vague that actually is. It could be 8700K, 8700, 86K. Oh, that's really weird one. What the fuck are you doing, Intel? Okay. 8700T. So I guess it's not the most vague he's ever been, but still Just tell us what it actually is. Don't give us just a vague idea of what it is. And don't act like that's so special and top of the line. You want to see what's top of the line? Fucking... Actually, that's not how we're gonna find the best. There we go. Huh? What the? Core 9? Oh yeah, right. I still have the core limitation on. Alright. There we go. See? 7980XC. See? $2,000 is not going all out. If you were going all out, you would spend $2,000 on the CPU. Oh, AMD's... Oh, yeah, right. AMD's got the new Threadripper with the 32 cores. I actually forgot. So, yeah, that's what you would be looking at. And, yeah, with that, maybe you'll get close to needing a 850 watt. 250 watt, but hey, you're getting 32 cores at 3 GHz. That's crazy. That's crazy good. But, yeah. 8700K, which is what I'm gonna guess it is. Not that great. Not that impressive.
So what having this little installer does for you is it's basically a brace.
It wastes your time. That's what it does for you.
You can apply right to the CPU and light it up with the triangles that you'll see on the bottom left corners. And this will make it
That's what you just do on the motherboard, to be honest.
easier for us to apply it to the motherboard and then apply thermal paste and then apply a CPU cooler on top. And we're just going to carefully lean it down into the system and make sure that everything lines up, and we're going to clasp down on it and we'll be good to go. So we're about to apply thermal paste to the CPU. Every CPU cooler actually...
Wait, the cooler already has some on it. Well, you don't need that. The thing on there is enough.
Comes with a bit of thermal paste already.
Also, not every CPU cooler comes with some. That's a lie. I've had plenty of coolers that didn't come with any. That instead had a protective film that was like, oh, remove this. And I bet if this guy had one of those, he would even forget to remove that.
Neatly applied in a circle around it, but it's usually not...
Also, it's not always a circle. Some actually make a square.
enough. It's good, essentially PC building practice to have a little bit extra and layer it on top of the CPU.
What the fuck, dude? That's like... Wait, does it keep going?
The final portion...
Holy shit. Okay, that's like 5 times as much as you would want without the stuff already being on the cooler. This is not okay. This guy is drowning his CPU in thermal paste. This kind of shit has... I have killed a motherboard by doing that before. I myself have killed... When I was a kid, I put too much thermal paste on a CPU once and killed a motherboard by doing that. Do not do what this guy is doing. No. Wrong. What the fuck? This guy is literally making people kill their motherboards.
To add the CPU cooler to the top end of the processor. So you're going to see that there are 4 brackets.
Holy fuck, dude. What did you do there? Look at that. That's disgusting. Dude, why? Who hired this guy? Why would you do that? Why would you do that? He clearly has no idea what he's doing. But he's acting like he is. Whoever decided he should do it is a fucking idiot. Whoever edited this is a fucking idiot. Not stopping anything, just keeping that... yeah, this is fine. We can upload this. The person who uploaded this is a fucking idiot. The person who decided that instead of deleting the video... see, I'm so mad. I'm already starting to be unable to speak. But yeah, the person who decided, oh, let's just disable ratings and comments, is an idiot and a selfish piece of shit. How does this get uploaded on a channel with 2 million subscribers? This is just proof that size has nothing to do with quality. There are channels out there with 10 subscribers, I bet, that can do this better.
Brackets, or rather like screws in here with brackets and holders right here. And they're going to keep the cooler raised off the processor, but it's also going to be close enough to actually physically come in contact with it, like basically keep it cool. Take thumb screws.
I'm cringing
like
looking at this.
And just screw them on. So now that our internals are done, we're going to put all the panels back on, which is the top glass, side glass, front glass, and of course the back panel where all of this fun stuff is happening. So we fully built the PC, everything's put together, and we got to the everything's put.
Wait.
We fully built the PC, everything's put together.
I did not mean.
And we got to the post screen. So what?
Sorry, it's like this guy's incompetence is starting to rub off on me.
And we got to the.
No, that was not far enough. Okay.
So we fully built.
There. This cable management, or lack thereof, rather. I built my first PC when I was 7. This doesn't really look better what I made back then. And back then, I modded the monitor into the case as a practical joke to make fun of the people who call the monitor the PC. I was like, okay, you know what? My monitor is gonna be the PC. I'm putting it into the case. And so yeah, I actually had a PC with the monitor in it. Because I was a young little shit. And back then, cases weren't really that beautiful anyway, so was like, whatever, makes it take up a bit less space overall. And it's a practical joke, but the cables in there still didn't look at... Maybe they sort of looked as bad as this, but first of all, there were way more cables there overall. And there wasn't a glass panel to look at it from. This just... Okay. This is test recording stuff done. I'm gonna look right now. Because I think I still have a picture of some cable management I did, just to show you how it's done a bit better. I'm not saying I'm great or anything. I'm not amazing at cable management. There are some gripes I have with what I did, but just to give you a general idea. Alright, there we go. Just had to cut that out because searching took a bit longer. See, this is, there, that circle. It should not be there. I should not have done it like that, but, this is my dad's computer that I built back in 2015 or 16. AMD Athlon 860K, Radeon R7 360, Be Quiet Pure Power 530. What? I think it's like Pure Power L or something. I'm not sure with the model, but it's pretty old. And 2 hard drives. One that was a terabyte, and the other, I think they're both a terabyte. Yeah, SSD, 60 gigs. So nothing too special, nothing as fancy as that, and I still put more work into this than that guy put into that. So when you do cable management, you always want to route as many cables behind the back wall. Cause, and this is not even a case with a side panel window. You're not gonna see this unless you open it up. And I still did this. And that's a non-modular power supply, which makes cable management so much harder. And the guy in the video, he had a modular one, and look how his looks. Just terrible. But yeah, that circle really pisses me off. One day I just gotta convince my dad to let me take apart his PC again, just so I can fix this, because that's just not okay. Anyway. Oh, well, what a fitting suggestion. Jay, if only you knew they'd steal your idea. What a 15-year-old meth addict taught me about leadership. Well, this guy probably got taught PC building by a 15-year-old meth addict, considering what he's been doing. Presented by Capital One. If I was Capital One, I would instantly opt out. Like, The Verge, no, who is that? We don't know who that is.
Built the PC, everything's put together, and we got to the post screen. So what's next? Well, you need a...
What's next? First of all, give me your job, please. I'm jealous. You get paid for building a computer this badly, and if I want to build one, I have to buy my own parts. So yeah, please give me your job. How about that? I'm not even saying I'm specifically great, just I'm not this mind-blowingly incompetent. I can build a PC properly. Not amazing, but properly.
A USB flash drive with your Windows installation media on it, and of course a license key. So I plugged that up, installed Windows in a couple of minutes, installed a bunch of drivers, and now we have a fully functioning gaming PC ready to run some games.
Yeah, and it's probably gonna die in a couple months because of the shit you did with the thermal paste. Or the PSU overheating. That's gonna cause issues. Just so many issues that are gonna happen here.
Right now I've got Armor 3 running at maximum settings, native resolution, which is 1080p HD, and it's running...
So, he has a 1080 Ti, and he runs 1080p. At least go 1440, dude.
Pretty smoothly. Like, I'm averaging 70 and 80 FPS, and this is normally like a very intensive game to run, and it's still doing a pretty good job. So right now I'm playing League of Legends. It's one of my favorite games. I'm actually...
Why would you... I just built my $2,000 computer. Let me just test fucking Minesweeper on it. How that runs, guys. Really all that needs to be said about testing League of Legends on this.
playing against a bot, and...
Of course, because can't build PCs, can't actually play games either.
I'm distracted, so I'm not actually doing so well. But, otherwise...
Yeah, just pay attention to his fingers. Just pay attention to his fingers.
So I'm not actually
he's
doing
just
so well.
He's
But,
just mashing buttons.
This is pretty much what you would see me...
Actually, I forgot that's what League of Legends is. Yeah, fight me. I don't like MOBAs.
You do on a gaming computer. Test stuff out, and hopefully have really high frame rates like I am right now. I'm averaging...
Yeah, it's 120 locked. I'm pretty sure you're hitting an FPS cap, therefore making this a benchmark that doesn't really tell you anything of value.
120 FPS, and that's only because I've actually locked the game to that frame rate, because...
If you want to test what the PC is capable of, then why are you locking the frame rate? Okay, I can understand if you're gonna lock it for regular gameplay, but when you're testing your brand new PC, why would you play League of Legends and then lock the frame rate? So it's not gonna go anywhere close to actually showing its potential. That's dumb.
I can get around 300 FPS playing League on Mac.
Oh, you can? Why don't you fucking show us? Huh? Why don't you show us?
Some settings, which is a little bit absurd, and you don't really need that, so I locked it. Building a game.
Yeah, I locked it to 120, but there are people who play at 240 hertz. So you should really just show what kinds of frame rates it gets. It's dumb. Just like, oh, I'm gonna lock it and just gonna tell them what frame rates I got. What? Show, don't tell.
Gaming desktop has been a great experience. I'm able to max out a lot of my favorite titles, and I'll be able to play a lot of
favorite titles, yeah, like League of Legends.
upcoming titles like Battlefield 5 and Cyberpunk 2077 without worrying too much about the parts I have. When ray tracing
extra minus points for not bringing up Doom Eternal.
GPUs come out, for example, I'll be able to upgrade without having to buy a completely new system.
Please don't upgrade. I just don't want you to touch computer parts ever again for the rest of your entire life.
And if I have a problem down the line, I can always just swap out a part and have it serviced rather than losing my whole computer.
If you do the shit you do, you may lose more than just one part. But yeah, I honestly hope they don't replace it. Like, I hope he voids warranty by doing the thermal paste shit so they don't replace the motherboard, so I actually learned something from this. I know that sounds cruel, but fuck the shit. This guy is being paid to build this thing, and that's what he does.
And of course now we also have a computer to test and benchmark games here at the Verge.
Yeah, not for long. That thing's gonna have issues.
Thanks for watching. Let me know if you've built a computer before yourself, or how you...
Oh, wait. Okay, now we can find the true roots of evil. Alright. Oh, Stephanie Chan, yeah, what the fuck were you doing? Producer! What the fuck? Director! What the fuck? Supervising director! What the fuck? Guys, this many people were involved with this, and none of them ever stepped back and said, oh, no, we're doing this wrong, this is not okay. No, all of them just pushed this through and made this what it is. This is terrible.
Computer before yourself, or how you would spend $2,000 on your own build. I'm really interested.
I would definitely not spend it fucking destroying my fucking... Wait! There are more credits? There's even more... Executive producer, general manager, network manager, production manager... There's so many people involved in this, and no one said this... No one said, stop, this is not okay? Ugh.
Interested in seeing what sort of parts...
Don't show more. Don't tell me there's even...
Don't forget to like
there is even more.
Subscribe.
Okay. 11 people were involved with this. And none of them noticed that there was something wrong.
Subscribe to The Verge if you haven't already.
Don't subscribe to The Verge. If you are subscribed to The Verge, unsubscribe to The Verge. And never, ever watch anything from them ever again. Because if they let this through, you can't trust anything they say. So, yeah, this has been something. Lots of ranting. Sorry for the rambling. Sorry for the extreme cynicism, but I just saw how much was wrong with this, so I thought I'm gonna criticize every little bit of this so I can get it out of my system, and there's nothing that hasn't been said about this. I'm just gonna... I had some interruptions, so I'm gonna cut that out, but... What the fuck, The Verge? What the fuck?